Hey guys, first Regardsman here, and so I'll be talking about every single class in Space Marine 2 patch 13 and tier listing them. And now, some of these classes are a bit better since my last tier list in patch 12 for all of them, mainly the Techmarine. And for the most part, I want to say before we even get into this, that every class in this game is in a pretty strong spot. Some of them are just a bit stronger than others, and we'll be going through all of them here one by one today, starting off with the Heavy class. Now, Heavy is a little bit strange. He used to be like a guaranteed S tier class, but these days he has fallen off a bit. I don't think he's as strong as he used to be because like he's predominantly just a damage dealer with a ton of HP, which is really strong in Space Marine 2. Like, don't get me wrong. Having equipment regen, having a fat pile of HP, that is good for most players in the game. When you're pushing like the absolute hardest content, I don't think I could like possibly put him at like the tippity top anymore, but he's still pretty strong. I still rank him pretty highly. Things like the heroic heavy bolter on him, things like heavy plasma and the new heroic heavy plasma pistol, excuse me, are very strong options for this class to do a ton of damage still. And damage in a lot of cases is really important in this game, and because of that, when you're playing with like a tactical, having a heavy to just dump damage on an Auspex scan is super strong. And for that reason, I'd still probably put him up in like the A, maybe B. I know some people rate this guy a little bit lower, but I would say he's still really strong, and whenever I play with him in like a solo or a hard strat, he does perform pretty well. It's just that compared to some of the other classes now, he's a little bit below them in utility, and because of that, I do put him here. But when it comes to like range damage and stuff like that, he is at the near top. Now, for the next class we have here, we have the Sniper. Now, Sniper is a little bit underrated in my opinion. The Sniper class is quite powerful in this game. When it comes to hard strats and operations, there really is nothing this class seriously struggles with anymore. Like, he kind of just blows through all content in the game for like operations and hard strats. We are not talking about the siege mode for the most part in this list, probably do a separate one for that. But as far as like hard strats are concerned, this guy has access to tremendous single target damage, a ton of equipment regen, a ton of damage reduction, and really when you take perk effects like Purification to get back all of your contested health on this guy off of like a single button press and also go invulnerable for 2 seconds, it is really difficult to actually die on the Sniper class. Like, I find my true solos on this guy have like a near 100% win rate because of that, because Purification and some of his other perk effects are just that strong, and all of his primary weapons like the Last Fusel, Heroic Instigator Carbine, Bolt Carbine, they are all amazing picks for him, and he has a ton of build diversity because of that. So I would probably put him in a top A. I think he's very strong, to be honest. Like, this guy is nearing the S tier in my opinion, but there are a couple classes I think are a bit stronger than him currently. Number one with the Techmarine. Now, Techmarine, when he came out, this guy was in a pretty weak state compared to now. He wasn't bad. Like, let's be very clear. The Techmarine was not a bad class back in patch 12. It's just that he didn't have his team perk now with Battlefield Repairs that gives you double armor on Extremis or Majoris Execute. And because of that, he was definitely lacking in the armor regen. Some of his other perk effects, like no knockback, had no lingering duration. But these days, the Techmarine is in a really strong spot. This guy can put down a ridiculous amount of AoE damage in Space Marine 2. His ability to just like pump out range damage while also just blowing apart hordes with an Omniscient Axe is incredible. Now, in the siege mode, you are kind of like permanently stuck using the Argent Edge on this guy at a certain point because he just takes too much damage otherwise, but he has a ton of build diversity. And I have to say, as far as like, you know, class fun goes, I think the Techmarine is like my most favorite class in the entire game currently. This guy is super fun to play. He has a ton going on with him. Whenever I make like a build guide for this guy, it always takes like 15 minutes because there is so much going on with this class. Like, you have so many different build options. His perks work so well together. There's only like a couple dead perks on this class. He is pretty damn well made. All of his primaries feel pretty good these days, and things like the Argent Edge, things like the Omniscient Axe, his turrets and all that, they all come together to make this guy very strong. Now, where he is weak is that you have the lowest HP total in the game tied with tactical, or excuse me, the Sniper class, but unlike the Sniper class, you do not have HP damage reduction, so he is very reliant on that you know, armor regen he has. But if you do get knocked over, his knockdown time is a bit longer, so you might just get blown up. But that being said, the Techmarine, he is very strong. The turret puts out a ton of damage, he puts out a ton of damage, and when you're not playing by yourself, he is an amazing support damage dealer, and I kind of have to put him at now like the top of A now, or maybe even the S tier. Like, he's pretty close. You know, I'm gonna say it, I think Techmarine is S tier these days. I think he might not be like the strongest S tier class in the entire game, but he is definitely like in that bracket. I think he is above these two classes currently for a team comp, not in solo. because in solo the Techmarine's kit just like doesn't lend itself very well for him to like survive certain situations, because he does have a habit of getting stun locked and murdered as opposed to these guys. But like when it comes to a proper team comp with competent players, he is incredible, and for that reason I'll put him here in the S, because he very much pairs well with things like Bulwark, things like Tactical. And when you have a Tactical that Auspex scans properly, and you also get your Decapitating Stratagem or Precision Enhancement off, you will just like one-shot bosses sometimes. So Techmarine, he goes into the S now. I know I put him like the bottom last time, but these days, some of his changes and just his class synergy, very powerful. And also you have his turrets in the siege mode now, so he's nice for that too. Next class here is also S tier, which is the Assault class. Now, Assault has a very tragic history in Space Marine 2. For a very long time, this guy was like utterly suffering in this game. He had like the worst perk tree options, and half his shit didn't work. His damage was abysmal. Melee in general in the game was abysmal. He had no invincibility frames upon landing, and half his prestige perks sucked. So these days, though, he's godly. Okay, this guy just mops up both factions in true solo and hard strats and operations, and he's also very strong in siege mode still. This guy is just him. He has multiple good build setups. He has incredible damage on the melee with things like the Power Fist, Xenophase Blade even, and his Power Axe. And on top of that, you have a ridiculous amount of mobility and free damage on things like a Carnifex. So you can pretty much trivialize entire boss encounters with Wings of Flame. He is very powerful right now. I would say he is currently above the Techmarine in terms of like operations and hard strats. Techmarine might be above him in the siege mode now thanks to those turrets, but we'll talk about that later day. For now, I think Assault is still overall stronger than Techmarine, and he is one of the strongest classes in the entire game, if not the strongest class in the entire game, because his horde clear is top tier, his boss damage is top tier, his mobility is top tier, and mobility in Space Marine 2 with iframes, with range damage reduction like you get on Hammer of Wrath for his prestige perks, that makes him a very potent force on both factions in the game, and because of that, I would put him up here in the S tier. Next class is fucking him. This is Bulwark. Bulwark is that guy. Bulwark is currently bugged while I'm making this list to have no cooldown on his Defensive Mastery signature perk, which means he can just one-shot parry every enemy in the game pretty much, but that's not part of his, mandatory kit, I should say, so we're not really going to count that. But either way, this class has everything, okay? There is not a top tier team comp in all of Space Marine 2 that does not have the Bulwark class, because he just does everything. He has damage, he has damage reduction, he has damage reduction for your teammates, he has healing for your teammates and himself, and he also has a tremendous amount of stagger. His banner ability is incredible for setting up damage opportunities for yourself and your teammates, because really, when it comes to the Bulwark, you put down your banner in a boss fight and you tank the boss fight for your teammates, you're doing free damage on your parries with perks like Intimidating Aura, and you are also allowing them to get off their full damage potential because of that, because armor regen in Space Marine 2 is so damn strong, and he does that so well for you and himself that he is just an S tier class. And also he has animation canceling just like the Assault does in his jump pack now, but his is just like also tied to a 100% range damage reduction shield. Did I even mention that? This guy can perma stagger certain bosses. He's just him. Like, Bulwark is just that guy. I think Bulwark will probably be a top tier class in Space Marine 2 all the way until like the end of its life cycle, because he's just that good. I mean, his class kit is just fundamentally kind of cracked. Unless they remove things like animation canceling from him, or like lower down his like shield to not block 100% of range fire, which I don't think they'll ever do, he's just going to be up here forever. So because of that, Bulwark, S tier class, Cordis is him, for sure up here. Now, next class here is Vanguard. Now, Vanguard changes are coming. These are confirmed. Saber said they are going to change the Vanguard class. They're going to buff him. At the very least, they're going to buff his grapnel targeting. And at the moment, this class is mainly a support class. I know a lot of people think the Vanguard is like a super strong carry. He's really not a carry. What he does is he enables other classes to like reach their full potential. So the Vanguard's healing perk, his inner fire perk for CDR, he is a very strong and competent team member. The place that he lacks is just damage, and his damage just kind of sucks in comparison to like every other class in this game. And because of that, he is lower on the list, because like I mentioned at the beginning with Heavy, damage damage is one of the most important things in Space Marine 2, because if you are able to nuke down a boss, if you're able to remove a threat instantaneously, you're gonna have a significantly easier time against the boss fights themselves or the extremis encounters, and damage nuking is just super potent in like most games, and especially this one. So because of that, I do think the Vanguard is a little lacking there, but if he's, you know, in a proper team comp, he is still totally viable. This guy will do everything you need him to do in like operations, hard strats, and even siege. You can play him in whatever content you want. When I put him over here in the B tier, I'm not saying he is bad. I'm saying that he is just not quite on the level of the other classes currently, and his best perk combo is an execution combo for zone of impact and tactical prowess, and unfortunately that combo does like to bug out because his grapple targeting just sucks sometimes, and sometimes that grapple targeting will get him killed, and that's just kind of a silly thing in the game, but that will be fixed one day. I hope to one day see the Vanguard just like ascend up into the S tier where he really should be. He was kind of here at one point in the beginning of the game, but like since then he has been power crept, so I put him down here. He's still pretty strong. He's a great support class. He will still do a lot for your team and yourself. He has a lot of damage reduction and armor regen. It's just that when it comes to the class comparisons, he's not quite on the level of the other classes currently, in my opinion. Final class here is the tactical class. Now the tactical is an interesting class in Space Marine 2. He has ridiculous damage potential. His Auspex scan can go up to like a 300% damage buff for your entire team. He has some of the best ranged weapons in the entire game, like the Pyre Blaster, the Grenade Launcher, Stalker Bolt Rifle, the newly buffed Plasma Incinerator. His perk tree is just littered with god tier perks. This guy has 60-second melt-a-bomb cooldowns for your entire team in siege mode. He's just kind of him. Like, the only thing holding this guy back is that he is squishy, but you know, that's his intended loop. He is a support class. He is a damage enabler and a damage range support, and he does that perfectly. He sets up your teammates to absolutely shit on every encounter in this game. He is part of every god tier team comp pretty much, because the Auspex scan damage nuking is just so damn powerful in this game. At the tactical, yeah, he's up here. Like, I might put him a little bit under assault because I think on his own he might perform a little bit worse, but he is definitely firmly in the S tier. I might even put him above the Techmarine because the Auspex scan is just that strong, and Secure Stockpile as an equipment regen perk is that strong, and tactical is absolutely deserving of the S tier. And that is pretty much everything for the patch 13 tier list. Now, none of these classes are bad, like I said before. Some of them are just a little weaker than others. I'd say the classes that really need a buff here are like Heavy and Vanguard, and thankfully Saber has said in their patch notes and community updates that they do intend to rework the perk tree on the Heavy a little bit and also give Vanguard some buffs. So they are aware that these two classes are lacking in diversity a little bit at the moment, but the other classes here, like the Sniper, Techmarine, Tactical, Assault, and Bulwark, I think they are all in a amazing spot, and hopefully this get even better as we get more build variety for them, new heroic weapons, and hopefully new perks, and maybe even like a new perk tree extension one day. But that is pretty much all I have to say in this one, guys. Hopefully this was a good explanation of why I think these classes deserve to be in these different lists. You guys can let me know how you guys rank the classes. I know people have some big opinions on this, but let me know in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching, and if you like content like this, subscribe for more. If you want to watch me live to ask me questions about the game or just come hang out, you can find me here on YouTube or on Twitch with the link in the video description, alongside a link to my community Discord. And as always, thanks for watching. Take it easy. Bye.